Good morning, dear brothers and sisters. Concerned citizen of South Sudan decided to go live today. I know this is unusual time that to go live, but because I have that opportunity today to do so. So thank you, my friend Matthew, for joining us. We're gonna do more, mixed language today. I really apologize. We're gonna do some in English and some in Arabic as well. So I want to talk in general, but I'll be focusing in fairness. Fairness is the most important thing that I'm going to focus on today. Because lately we have seen a lot of South Sudanese, particularly from my region, from my area, they are complaining too much about what happened to the former chief of staff of SPLA, Paul Malone. They are complaining too much why this man has been under house arrest. It goes back to the beginning of the issues. We have been complaining, we have been talking since 2012 that the fairness is good for everybody, always. Fairness is most important to everybody. But when people ignored the most important issues and they decide to take a wrong path, that wrong path is likely to hunt them down. And that's what happened at the moment. Right now people are complaining why this thing happening. Malone was the part of unfairness. That's President Salva Kiir has taken. Malone had been used even against his own people of Northern Barghazal. And that's why lately you've seen a lot of people, mostly those colleagues who were with him in the government, they are silent. So I'm not saying that what happened to Malone now, he lost a daughter. I'm not saying that we don't have empathy to that. We do, because he lost a daughter and he deserves people, to feel sorry for what happened to him. But the notion that people are complaining why Malone is under arrest and all these things happening, Malone was a part of ongoing parties, ongoing, problem. And that's why I said from the beginning, fairness is good for all. Because South Sudanese were fighting for justice, liberty, prosperity. In 2010, then South Sudan was an autonomy. We were Southern Sudan then, we were not South Sudan. The SPLM party, under the leadership of President Kiir, came up with something called loyal SPLM members. And I believe all South Sudanese are loyal to the country, and they are loyal. And that's why they fought for 22 years to achieve the independence. But all of a sudden, they came up with something called that loyalty to undermine their colleagues. And a lot of people, spoke up. And they said, no, we don't want to move that path, because that path is going to take us in the wrong direction. But they did not listen. And they continue. And they always start blaming the social media. Why we are speaking up, why these people are making noise. We are making noise because we knew our values. We are making noise because the fight, it was about marginalization, about justice and equality. Fairness for all. That's why we fought with the North oppressors. But unfortunately, our brothers, they didn't listen. They chose that direction, including our brother, Malone. And most of you are aware what happened, the election that took place in 2010. And they rigged that election, on expenses of others, Dana Turjong and in Northern Barghazal and Athor, in Jonglei state, and so on. So now, the notion that people are complaining, why Malong become this? Why Malong Kir is putting him under house arrest? This something has already, happened. And we were talking, saying that, no. Because now if we give all the power to the president, we might end up with something, we don't know. And that's what happened right now. So we should not feel bad for what happened at the moment, because Mr. Malong was part of it. And I can describe that Malong, actually, President Kiir has used him like a hunting dog, to go and hunt their colleagues, within the state and within the region. But at the end of the day, what had happened right now? He's paying the price. And that's why the fairness is good, because you never know what is going to happen down the road. When you check the balance, when you give everybody, their chance, and you keep that, boundaries, rather than putting everything in one man's hand. See, putting everything in one man's hand, this is the result right now. And then we should not be feeling bad. Not too long ago, South Sudan is suffering, and South Sudan continue to suffer. And people within our region, they never spoke up. They never say, hey, President Kiir, you're doing wrong. They never say, hey, JC, you're doing wrong. They never say SPLM government is doing wrong. They would say, oh, SPLM, SPLM hukuma bitana, Salva Kiir reis bitana. And all of a sudden now, Kiir continued to use his tactic that he had been using within the country. He divided Jonglei state, divided those of Twitch and those of Bor, and they have more conflicts. He divided Rumbek, and you have seen that, by imposing this guy upon them, Maturchut. When Maturchut was removed, people of the Lake of Rumbek region, they were having, stability and peace. But actually, I have been saying this, and I will keep saying this. President Kiir, he has a mentality of divide and rule, and he continued to do so. He did it in Jonglei, he did it in Central Equatoria, he did it in Rumbek region, and he moved right now to where? To Northern Barkazal region. And we should not be surprised. This is why I've been saying, we have been talking about this. This man, he want to divide and rule. He want to continue doing the same. But our people, actually, they didn't know that this thing is going to hunt them down. But it will. As they said in Arabic, Man hafra hafra la akhihi waqa fihi. What goes around, come around. So, from the beginning, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. When people started speaking up and saying, no, we don't want this to happen, and our brothers say, no. There's the loyalists and there is no loyals. There is nothing say loyal and non-loyal. We are all loyal to the country. We are all love the country. See, that's how the problem is started. And there is a big indication, actually, from the beginning, when we gain an independence. When these brothers, they start moving toward the east, when they start moving toward China, that's a big indication that these people, they don't need any transparency, they don't need any accountability. They just want to enrich themselves. That's why they chose to go with Chinese. Prove me wrong. That's what happened exactly. They calculated very well. United States was behind South Sudanese for all this struggle of years. But at the end of the day, they knew that, hey, United States care more about transparency and justice and liberty and all this. And he's not going to allow us, to start stealing and doing so. Because when they are doing business with you, okay, they will monitor. When they give you something, they will say, okay, how did you use that, what we gave you? What are you doing with it? Unfortunately, they knew that, and that's why they chose, to go with Chinese. Nowadays, just look what's happening in the area of Unity and Upper Nile. Look what Chinese are doing with the oil, mukhalafat oil, what they are doing. They are dumping all this, spells. They are dumping it on the grass, they are, destroying the environment because they know that Chinese, that they give, they will take. They give you what they want. Okay, and they will take what they want, and they would not care about your environment, about your people, about all these things. Our brothers, if they have chosen then with the friend that stood with us for a long time, we would have stability now in our country. They would have trained our military. They would have trained our police. They would have trained our civil servant. They would have done all this. Of course, nothing comes free. Okay? But friend in need is friend indeed. And that's what Condoleezza Susan Rice said on the Independent Day of South Sudan in Juba. Right? But actually our own brothers, they ignore this, fact, they ignore this reality, and they said, hey, we spend 22 plus, fighting. Now, we move to a transparency, we are not going to get anything. So they wanted to reward themselves. And that's why we end up with all this problem. It's all about the resources. All this problem is started in resources. So what I wanted to say to our people in Northern Barkazal, particularly Madingaul, there is no need to cry. There is no need to make noise. Because people of South Sudan from all different ethnic, different background, as they have already spoken, we have been speaking. People are saying, no, this is wrong. What President Kiir is doing is wrong. We should be one. We should do this. We should move toward transparency and have an election and have a democracy. But President Kiir has played tactic. He did. He did since 2012. And at the time, actually, I started waving my support from President Kiir. When he visited, Greater Barakazal, when problem rose there between Balanda Bagari and the local Dinka in Wau. Okay? They wanted to transfer the headquarters of the county from Wau to Bagari. The governor that time, Rizk Zakaria, spoke about it. They wanted to do this, and they did actually. So people come out actually and they do protest because they don't want their area to be transferred to where? To Bagari, because they feel like, hey, this is our area too. Okay? So by taking us out from here, we will lose our land. All right? So instead, Mr. President coming to resolve the problem, going to Wau, and I remember in 2012, he spoke in Wau Stadium. And instead of saying that, hey, I understand your concern. You're the leader, you're the father, you're the president of the country. Your tone always should be different than other people, right? And instead of going there and speaking to Balanda people, of Wau and saying that, the reason behind transferring the county headquarters from Wau to Bagari is actually to bring the development to the area, to build the school, to build infrastructure, to build the road. It's not because we want to take this piece of place and give it to another tribe. See, that's how leaders speak. But actually ignore that fact. He did ignore that fact. And do you know what he said? It was so sad to hear that. He said, why do you refuse to go to your area? If I were here, I would have fight you so you can go to your area. Imagine if your father, if your president is telling you that there is a dispute between brothers and sisters, and then their father will come and take a side with the government and say, hey, if I were here, I would have fight you to go to your area. You become hopeless. Totally you become hopeless. And that's why we are seeing problem happen in Wau. And people start fighting, ethnic, involved. You have Balanda against Dinka, you have Yurshal against Dinka. And these people, they have been living in peace for long time. And it's not surprise. It's not surprise because we knew this thing will going to happen. Because if the leader of the country is a divider, and I already made it clear a little earlier, and I said that he divided people of Jonglei. He divided, the Boer and the Tweed, and he divided people of Central Equatoria. He divided people of Agar, by imposing that guy, Motur Shoot, on them. so they can have problem always, and it would be more busy, you know, with the with ruling people in Juba. And he did it within Wow, and now he did it in northern Barkazal, and yet our people, they still praise him. Oh, SPLA Kuma Bitana, Reis Bitana, and now it's coming. He went federal, and he uses on the guy that I call hunting dog, King Paul, the deposed King Paul. Now he used the guy that protected him from White Army without Malong, that now he threw under the bus. He would have been captured by White Army in Juba. And all of you know this. All of you know that. You cannot deny that. Imagine. Imagine. And that's all goes back to who? Goes back to transparency. Goes back to accountability. When people of South Sudan rejected this and say, no, 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 this constitution must be fair to everybody. And President Kiir came and went to National Legislative Assembly and said, if you guys don't pass this constitution, I will fire you all. How dare you, Mr. President? You wanted to fire the National Legislative Assembly of the country just for refusing, saying that, no, 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 we are giving too much power to the president, and this is going to hand us down later, which has happened right now. The constitution that South Sudan is using, it was rejected by majority in the National Legislative Assembly in 2011. It was rejected. But President Kiir pushed that hard so he can have all these powers to do what he can do. To fire the elected governors, to fire the elected officials, to appoint whoever you want to appoint, to become like a king, to become more dictatorial. And I make this point last time when I talked, and I said, actually, the strategy behind all this, Uganda has hand on it. Okay? President Museveni has been in power 30 years plus. And South Sudanese, they have been fighting to gain independence so they can have transparency and justice and liberty and all this. And South Sudan is a nation of 12 to 14 million. Uganda is a nation of 41 million. Any country in the northern side of this country that rule with democracy and fairness is likely to influence the people in Uganda. And the people in Uganda and people of South Sudan, there is no difference. We are the same people. So actually President Museveni tried to protect himself, to help himself. And that's why it became like close ally to Kiir, saying that, hey, I want to advise you. But actually it was not an advice. He just wanted to protect himself. And that's why he used President Kiir by telling him, hey, you are coming from the large ethnic group and they are warriors, and you can use some of these people actually to maintain power. And Kiir actually listened to that. And he's exercising that. Another fear from this country, I already made it clear actually, because this country, whether Kenya or Uganda or Ethiopia, they are all depend on foreign aid, on tourism and agriculture only. But South Sudan, with a lot of natural resources that they have, is likely to boom if they are stable and if they have just governing and deliver the service to their people. They will be good, and it will be a destination of foreign investors, and this country will boom. Actually, they didn't want that to happen actually, but our people, they don't have vision. They don't know. They don't know. They just think for today themselves. That's what they have. They think about today. Hey, I spent 22 years. I spent, 17 whatever years. You know what? I risked my education. I didn't go to school. I didn't do this. Now it's time, to grab whatever I can get. Get all this money, Forget about these people. And these are the people actually you have been fighting for. As long as I have a jet flight, I can fly to Nairobi. I can fly to Germany, to have a medical checkup and do all these things. Why do I have to worry? Why do I have to worry? That's the mentality that they have. Mentality that they said, hey, our sun is going down. But these young people, their sun is coming up. So they feel like if their sun is going down And this is their opportunity now to stay and have whatever they can get, to enrich themselves. They don't think that this country, actually they will die and we all will die and will remain for generation and generation to come. They don't have that mentality. Okay? And I make actually a distinction, between President Kiir and the founding father of the United States before, in one of my clips, When I said, hey, George Washington, it was a soldier and he became a general and then became a president and a founding father of this country. Okay? When people decide long time ago saying that, hey, you fought against the England, you fought against the British, and they were oppressors. Now we kick them out because of taxation and all this, and we have our brother, which is George Washington. Now we want you to be king. And he said, no, I cannot be king. And we cannot take the freedom that we have been fighting together away from you. I cannot be king. We should have opportunity for everybody. And that's why America grew. Because they start having the unity of ideals, not unity of the blood. Okay? A unity comes when we are all have our collective ideas. From Kakwa, from Dinka, from Balanda, from Anuak, from Makaraka, from Forge, from whatever, from Nuer. That's how unity can become stronger. And when we deliver the services, the needies for the people. But when I said no, when I use the stereotype, I am better than him. Or I am stronger than him. Or we fight harder. They don't fight. They just dance. Okay? They don't do this and they don't do that. We're likely to collapse. And that's why we are collapsing. Because we use stereotypes. And we don't want to put all differences behind. And I'm going to tell you this, and I keep saying it every time when I make, a clips, when I make a video, I'm going to tell you this. Kiir is not going anywhere. Kiir has already planned it. He wanted to rule South Sudan for life. But the thing is, most of dictatorship all over the world, they deliver the services to the people. They do infrastructure. Okay? And they build schools, they build hospitals. They build roads, they construct roads. And they do all these things. The problem is with Kiir, none of this has in his mind. And he want to rule for life. He want to rule for life. He want to stay there until he died. I'm not making this up. He already made it clear in 2012 when he visited Kwajok, in Warabi State. He spoke there and he said, you know what? SPLM can rule for 100 years. When he said SPLM can rule 100 years, he meant himself actually. He meant himself that he can rule until he died. It doesn't matter. People are dying, people are hungry, people are sick. It's not his problem. As long as he's in J1, as he's enjoying, that wealth, and he have that jet to fly, and have that red carpet, and people saying, Mr. President, bang all these things, okay, everything is fine. As long as he has enough food, he feel like everybody is happy too. He feel like everybody is full also. See? But that's not the way all this dictatorship all over the world are. You can just see the example of Uganda. They have enough food. Of course, he's suppressing them. Museveni is suppressing them to death. But people have enough food. You can see example of Mubarak when he was ruling Egypt for 30 years. They were having enough food. They were having enough transport. People come from Sudan to go on and get medical treatment in Egypt. Example of Gaddafi. Everybody was so happy. He used actually the oil of the country, for the welfare of the people. Every Libyan citizen gets $700 in his bank account every month. Every month. I'm not saying that South Sudanese should get that, because actually when you are giving money, you are not teaching people, how to catch the fish. You don't want to feed them all. You want to teach them, how to keep going. Okay? But I'm giving example how dictatorship succeeded. But this guy is ruling without providing. And is causing conflicts among the citizens, dividing them more. And yet, some people think, oh, he's good. He's good. And now, he came to the home of the people that were protecting him, people of northern Barkazal. And he started destroying it, for good. For good. What else? Our people. And that's why I'm saying that do not cry. I have seen many posters. I have seen many articles. Many people making live video talking about the Paul Malong. Oh, Paul Malong should be released. Paul Malong should be released. Paul Malong was part of this. He embraces. He said, oh, we should give all power to Kir. He embraced it. I feel sorry for what happened to his, to his family. He lost a kid. But he was part of all this. He was. Now, see what happened? As they said, what goes around, come around. You see what happened now? When we said, no, we need transparency. So you, Paul Malong, can be protected by the law. So I can be protected. Kir can be protected. Everybody can be protected in the country. But when we refuse and we say, no, we should give all power to this man. What's going to happen tomorrow? A human is a human. A human has all kind of, different behaviors. You want to be greedy. You want to cling to the power. Yeah? You want to get the money. You want to do all these things. Now this is the result. So we should not be crying. Because Malong was part of it. I'm not surprised why those of Kwelagwer and why those of former governors of Northern Barkazal, why those of intellectuals from Medingaul, why they are not speaking out. Because they knew, actually, this guy was part of this. And people talked to him for a long time. Do not. Malong was Kir was using this guy, to intimidate all the citizens, on that area. Intimidate these people. But now, look what happened. After he have used him and he became useless, he just threw him under the bus. And he brought someone that has disagreement with him before, Dana Turjo. This is a strategy Kir has been using for a long time. It will use you, and later if you have disagreement with you, it will bring someone that have some dispute with you, someone that disagree with you, have problem with you, and it will put him there. Now he brought Dana Turjo to become commander of Division 8, and he brought Ajongo Mawood, James Ajongo Mawood, became chief of staff, because Ajongo Mawood is the only brave man in Northern Barkazal. During when Malong used to intimidate people and do all this crazy stuff, he always point a finger, don't do this. Don't do that. He was the only brave man in that area. He disagreed with him because he knew what Malong was doing wrong. And now you see what Kir did? To divide these people more so they cannot be stronger. He went there and got a Jong Amawood, say, hey, you're going to be chief of staff. Chief of general staff of army. And this guy go to hell now. So he can divide them more and he can stay in his power here and no one is going to do anything. South Sudanese, are you not learning? Our people, are you not learning? Are you not learning? By the way, we are not idiot. We are not. We are not idiot. We know what's going on. Some people might, might think, hey, what the heck was this guy? Who Mawalid Sultan? We don't know him. We don't know his father. We don't know nothing. But I keep saying for a long time, John Garang was not son of Sultan. He came from nowhere. I'm not saying that I should be John Garang. But the mentality that we have, South Sudanese, if someone is not known or is not son of Sultan or is not son of ambassador or son of minister or son of so, he should not speak out or he has nothing to say. No. Ideals cannot be inherited. You can inherit DNA. You can inherit DNA of your father. The look, the eyes, the teeth. You can look like your father. You can look like your mother, but you cannot speak exactly the way your father used to do things. It's a different thing. It's different. Ideologies cannot be inherited. And I keep saying this to a lot of people, those who think, oh, their father was so-and-so, or their uncle was so-and-so. No. Somebody can come from nowhere. We have a lot of smart people in South Sudan. They don't have to be son of Sultan. They don't have to be son of so-and-so and so. No. Okay? And Dr. John Garang, our late hero, has spoken about this. And you knew now where the problem comes from. And I repeat, Kir is not going anywhere until he died. Unless people of South Sudan have to arise and kick him out. With non-violence, though. That's the only solution. But Kir is not going anywhere. That's the strategy that he has built. He wanted to rule this country until he died. When he chose the East, Chinese, that's the mentality that he has. Look, listen. Our hero, Dr. John Garang, what he said. He said there is people actually always looking for their interests. And if we get the country without delivering to the people, and we start intimidating this citizen, and then there is no meaning of the liberation that we have been fighting for. He was right. I want to tell you this thing. The ideas of JCE, Joint Council of Elders, came from opponents of Dr. John Garang. Bona Malwal. Bona Malwal, when Dr. John Garang alive, it was sanctioned. He cannot go to South Sudan. You guys know this. It was sanctioned for good. Because Bona Malwal is a divider. He is a divider. And that's why Dr. John Garang doesn't want our people to be divided. Doesn't want our people to be divided on the ethnic line. But actually, that's the politics of Bona Malwal. Some of you may know, he has been, campaigning all these years, but he never succeeded. But I do recall when Dr. John Garang died in 2005. And then Salva Kiir became a chairman that time and became president of the government of Southern Sudan, not South Sudan. Now South Sudanese, they have hard time saying South Sudan with capital S because now we are a different nation. They keep saying that Southern Sudan. They don't know between Southern and South. Because when you say Southern, it's a part of bigger country. But we are not actually. We are independent. We should call ourselves South Sudan. Or we should call it in the future, if we already become more stable, Nile Republic or whatever, republic that we call it. So people have hard time, saying South Sudan. They keep saying Southern Sudan. Back to my point. Bona Malwal was sanctioned because of his ethnic division. He's the one actually created some differences between Karbino Kwany and Dr. John Garang. With that stupid ideology saying that, hey, we the people of Barkazal, we are the majority of the SPLM. Why John Garang is the chairman? See? He tried to cause the conflict within the SPLM. That time, John Garang sanctioned him for good, not to come to South Sudan. And those who don't have a vision, who don't know, who don't, see ahead, always fall in love with him. And that's, you see the result, what happened to our brother, Karbino Kwanyinpo. And now, after Dr. John Garang died, what happened actually, he was interviewed by, I recall, Monte Carlo, Radio Monte Carlo. The journalist asked him, you were sanctioned to go to South Sudan and you were an opponent of Dr. John Garang. Right now, John Garang died and Salva Kiir is in charge. Do you think the unity is going to come or something is going to work out between you and him? And he said, oh yeah, of course. We are from the same area. Imagine, quote unquote, we are from the same area. We will work our differences. See? That was in 2006 saying that. So actually he has a plan. Those who were anti-Dr. Jongkor are the one that destroyed the country. He has a plan actually. He wanted to get in there, but if he cannot get in there, he wants his child to get in there. And now, do you know who is the ambassador of South Sudan to the United Nations? Someone can write it here so I can guess. Just guess. Do you know who is the ambassador of South Sudan to the United Nations right now? I hope someone can guess that to me. I hope someone can guess that to me. Because I want to prove my point here. I just don't talk. I talk based on the fact. I know. Bwana Malwal, he's the one that campaigned for JCE, Joint Council of Elders. He's the one. He's the one that campaigned for that. Because he has a lot of dispute with Dr. Jongkor. He was sanctioned, he cannot go. But after Dr. Jongkor died, he said, oh, Salva Kiir now is from our area. We are brothers. We can do this and we can do that. And we can be together and do whatever we wanted to do. And then he started bringing those, who were fired from the SPLM parties, and bring them back. And he started destroying the good cause that South Sudanese fought for. And we lost life, 2-point-some million. Thank you, brother. Abdullah Garang, you are right. Right now, the ambassador of South Sudan to the United Nations is the son of Bwana Malwal. His name is Akwe Bwana Malwal. So he tried his best to arise to the top. But it didn't happen. He brought his son. He campaigned for JCE. You cannot a tribal council in the country and you have a national legislative in the country. You have a parliament that represents the people. And then at the same time having a tribal council. Why do you want to create a conflict, actually? Just shy a little bit. You would have even be shaped. You would have even called it South Sudan Council of Elders. At least. And if you want to do something behind the scene there nobody can know, at least it will make a little bit of sense. Right? By calling it South Sudan Council of Elders. But don't call it Joint Council of Elders. You are putting us in deep, 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 deep trouble with our brothers from all across the country. And that's what's going on now. Right? So I want you to understand my point. Bwana Malwal campaigned for destruction of South Sudan. And he succeeded. He did succeed. Look, good generals, if people say that Paul Malong was a good general, they should have realized that the country is heading to the wrong direction. Hey, and we should not embrace, the hatred. We should not embrace the division. But instead, he refused. He decided to be part of it. And that's why I'm saying that from the beginning of this video, people of Northern Bahar, we don't need to cry too much. We have been used already. We have been used in Matianganyor. We have been used in all this because of the numbers, of the bigger numbers that we have in the Dinka community. We have been used. Because of the bravest that we have been used. This is the time now to open your eyes and say, hey, South Sudanese are all my brothers. Kir is not going anywhere. And I repeat this. And I give you the facts and I give you the evidence when this thing is started and where they are going. It's not going anywhere. And to my brothers from others, other tribe, you know what? There's a lot of innocent Dinka. They have nothing to do with Kir. Nas masakin zayakum. Lot of them. Maybe you disagree with me because people are not speaking out. That would be your point, that you disagree with me. But actually, Dinka, majority of them have nothing to do with this guy is doing. I give you just example of the people in northern Barkazal. They keep crossing border every single day to go to the north. الناس جعانين. ما في أكل. ما في علاج. They just go. Okay? So there's a lot of people actually from Dinka. They are not with Salva Kiir. They are not. The only thing that we need to do as a South Sudanese is to unite and have one voice. And I said this many times, especially people in diaspora. We need to unite. We don't need to be divided among them. Those leaders, those elite, no. We need to unite and say, hey, enough is enough. We don't care about all these leaders because they are the one that divide this country. They are the one that cause all this problem. Because tomorrow they will go. Tomorrow we will go. And the country will be remaining. The country will be there. And this country is going to be for my son, is going to be for your son, and for your brother, and for your sister. And they are going to live there. I'm going to tell you something. God has not mistaken to create us with all this different ethnicity in South Sudan. It's not mistaken. Actually, He loves us. That's why He bring all these, people from different to be our strength. That's what it is. So we should embrace our diversity, multicultural. That's what we are. See, when I listen to South Sudan music from all across, all the way from Afmanile, they have kind of different beat. If you go to Barakazal, they have different beats. If you go to Equatorial, they have different beats. It makes you feel good, We have all different tastes. That diversity should be our strength. That diversity should not be used for a division. See? So realize this, brothers and sisters, that the anti-Dr. John Garang, they are the one divided the country, and they are the one continue. The reason I'm saying that, fairness and Malung was part of the problem. Because if you remember the Addis Ababa Agreement in 2015, when Kir keep going to, hey, I'm going to go back to consents to make, to consult. Who are you going to consult in Juba? Are you going to consult the Army Chief of Staff? Are you going to consult the JCE? Are you going to consult who? Are you going to consult Salatin? Remember? So they were the one. And Malong, those of Kwalmanyang and all these things. I don't know. People with higher education. But they still have that hatred in their hearts. It's not going to take you anywhere. It's not. Always compromise and sit on the table with your brother and sister and solve your differences. It's not. No one in this world can prove that war is better than peace. People tried. From the First World War, from the Second World War, from all these wars. And they knew it. As a result, people knew that war is not good. That's why we have UN today. To be like a referee, on the field when you are playing soccer. If you make a mistake, say, hey, you made a mistake. But I would repeat, Kir is not going anywhere. The only solution, people of South Sudan must come together and do a peaceful uprising. Period. Because these guys, they just think about themselves. Him, the president, he think about himself. People around him, They know that if transparency came to South Sudan, they will not have that opportunity. And actually they are mistaken. And I said that last time. The resources that we have are enough for everybody. But they don't see it that way. Some people always, they see from the very, tiny angle. They don't see it that way. That's why they want to beat the drum, the war continue. So this is their time. As long as the war is continue, they will enrich themselves. They will steal, they will collect, they will do this. That's what it is. And I'm blaming president because you are in the charge. But I know. I already quit, giving advice to President Kiir because he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to bring peace, actually. You know that he keep beating around the bushes. You want to do reunification of the SPLM party. You want to do national dialogue. You want to do national day prayers. All these things, nonsense, will bring nothing. Yes, you can pray. But if you are praying with no intention that you want to do good thing, nothing is going to happen. I know that for sure. Nothing is going to happen. Because the ideas behind all this program that he proposed and all these things that he does is to prolong his stay in the government. It's to prolong his time, to stay longer. That's it. But a lot of people don't see this. They don't see that. Shame on us. Shame on him. And I know already shame on him. He will not change. That's the way he is. And by the way, manners are not learned from school. أخلاق ما بيعلموا في المدرسة. If you don't have good manners, the skill, the degree, all the degrees that you earn, whether it's bachelor, master, and PhD, will not change your manner. Unless it has to be on you, the way you raise, the environment, the people around you. And you have to be able to be, adapted to a good thing, to a good cause. But if you are not, nothing good is gonna come out, with you. Some people say, "Oh, Mafizol, well, we don't have anyone. We don't have anyone." What Kir has offered? He has offered war. He has not offered development. He has not offered peace. He has not offered infrastructure. He has not offered transparency. He has not offered justice. So that's the person that we want. That's the best of South Sudan. We don't have better people in this country. We don't. We do. But they don't want that opportunity. They don't want to give opportunity to these people. That's why they tied it. That's why they don't want you to speak up. If you speak up, a non-gunman, or they will throw you in jail. They don't want good people. And that's why they throw that guy and many of them in jail, and they kill Isaiah Abram. We will remember Isaiah Abram forever. He was a true SPLM. He was a soldier and he was a general, but he came across all this problem and he started writing on the newspaper saying that, hey, guys, we didn't fight for destruction. We didn't fight for division. We didn't fight for corruption. We fought for transparency, justice, equality. These are the ones that we fought so we can have egalitarian system in our country. What did they do? They kill him. They kill him. Because they didn't want that. The ball on the citizen hand. South Sudanese citizen, they can determine their destiny. They can determine what they wanted to do. If they want to remain like this, there will be no change. Unless we have to speak up, unless we have to go out, unless we have to do what it takes for the citizen to make changes. And it happened. It happened all over the world. Don't tell me that people are not educated. It's not going to happen. No. When they decided to go to the bush, they were not educated and they carried the gun and they fought. the same mentality that they have now, they can go to the street and they can speak up and they can say, no, enough, enough. We have been dying for a long time. Our kids have been dying for a long time. And we need a break. We need peace. We need to live together because we are all belong together. We are. Our problem actually is simple. If we sit down round the table, all these opposition group, whether G10 or Cirillo or Riek Machar or Lama Kor, all these people, all these stakeholders, if they sat down on the table and say, hey, we want a solution for our country, it's simple. They are educated South Sudanese. It's not necessarily for UN to come and take over. No. Actually, we can sit down and make a compromise and say, okay, how we are going to make this work? Okay, we have interim period. The interim period will be led by a neutral body, someone who has nothing to do with people, to do with all this problem. But the interim period is 1 year. Okay, the role of the interim government, okay, is do a national census, form a national commission, okay, start building a relationship, doing a reconciliation, and then do an election, fair election. That's our problem. Tamma. Rewrite this constitution, how we want this constitution to be. We have to have our input. All our input has to be there. Okay? A fair constitution that would guarantee the right of the people of South Sudan. Not constitution that would give all the right to the president, to fire and hire and do whatever you want to do. No, the constitution that will keep the balance. The constitution that will say, hey, you president, you are the head of the executive. Okay? The legislative assembly, their job is to do what? Okay? To legislate the laws. That's their job, to legislate. Okay? The judicial, their job to interpret the law. Okay? And to bring those who make mistake to the book, enforce that law. That's the job. Just have that constitution. The constitution that will give right to all people of South Sudan. We have that constitution. Okay, now next. Okay, we do national census. Last we could be that Sukani. National census, because representation is based on population. And I said this with a lot of people, I know. Why do you want to use the smaller power? The smaller power, which is war and dictatorship. That's a smaller power, actually. But if you use the rules of democracy, if you are majority, you will win. And you can write the laws the way you want it. Because you majority, you win, right? That's the way it is. Have a national census in the country so we can know exactly what is our population, how districts are going to be represented. Okay? And then after that, do election. Legislative election. And general election for the presidency. Simple. And then now we are back. We are back on track. It's not necessarily to bring somebody to come and say, hey, you guys don't listen and I have to rule you. No. Because we are better than this. We have to accept each other. We have to love one another. We have to care for one another because we are all belong together. That's what we're missing. If we have that, actually we can sit. But the notion that I don't want to sit down with Lama Kol on the table, or I don't want to sit down with Lama Kol, I don't want to sit down with Riek Machar, I don't want to sit down with Pagana Mum, I don't want to sit down with Thomas Cirillo, I don't want to sit down with A and B and C and C. It's not going to take you anywhere because you cannot make peace with yourself. When you have disagreement with somebody, when you're fighting with somebody, and then there is a need to sit down, and then you can have a conversation to solve the problem. But isolation is not a solution. When you isolate yourself and think, hey, Ana Madeir, Ana Kida Ana Indi Salam, how are you going to make that peace with yourself? And that's why I said many times, national dialogue is not going anywhere. Because people who have problem, actually, they are not dialoguing with themselves. They are not talking. National dialogue with the citizen of South Sudan. Citizens of South Sudan, they don't have problem, actually. They don't have problem. What they need is, necessity. They need service delivery. They need transparency. They need justice. That's what they need. You, the leaders, the politicians are the one that fighting. Sit down at the table and solve your differences and come to the public. And then after that, you can have national dialogue. Because you cannot have just national dialogue without, you didn't resolve your differences with the person that you're fighting with. How national dialogue is going to be sincere or genuine? It's not. Because national dialogue actually is supposed to be between you, the one that have problem. Because what the citizen need is a delivering. They want to see something good from their leader. They don't want to see their leaders are fighting. They don't want to see that. Because when we reconcile on the top, okay, a mother and a father, when they have peace, the kids are going to have peace. But when there is a fight between the mother and the father, kids are suffer. They don't know their future. And that's what happened. Those elites, those educated, those leaders, they have fight. They are the one fighting. So they should know better than the children, the citizen. They should sit down and solve the differences. And then citizens, they don't have any problem. But saying that, oh, national dialogue, well, is going to bring this and it's going to... Who are they doing national dialogue with? Where is going now? 5 months. I said that last time. And it's not going anywhere. Reconciliation. How are you going to reconcile and you have problem? You didn't sit down to say, oh, I made a mistake. I apologize for what I did. How the war started. Who started the war? And why did you move toward this and this? Why do you want to do this? Why you didn't want to sit down? Then how are you going to reconcile? How are you going to say that we want to reunification? How are you going to do reunification and you didn't, sit down with your brother and your sister that you're fighting for? Because you have to sort out the problem, and then after that you can be reunified. Without sorting out the problem, unification is not going to happen because everybody has their bitterness in their hearts. Okay, they're going to come and say, oh, he did this to me, he killed my brother, he did this and he did that. So we didn't put all these differences because reunification or reconciliation will happen when the justice is served. When all these things, if I slap somebody on the face, and then the law will not let it go easily. They will bring me in and question me why I slapped that guy in the face. Why? And I have to pay the price of doing that. And then the other citizen, seeing that the justice is served, that the justice actually will say, oh, now things are going to change. So if someone slapped me, and then the law will not let him do that. And if I do this to other one, and then I will get fair treatment. And then, yeah, reconciliation will come. But we cannot just talk about, oh, reconciliation, reunification, national dialogue, or national prayer. You are praying, and you have big anger in your heart with your brother and sister. You just try to buy time. It's not going to happen. And brother, I will conclude with this. Kir is not going anywhere. It's not. He already has a plan. That's he will rule this country for life until he died. Do not dream that Kir will just step down and say, oh, I stepped down, I failed to do this, and I did this, I didn't do this. Yes, he was a hero. He fought for the freedom of South Sudanese. But he failed to unite South Sudan. He failed to deliver for the people of South Sudan. It created more division. It created more problems, when he became president of South Sudan. But I don't see he's stepping down. That's the reality, whether we like it or not. And we must act. And I am not advocating for any violence. No, because violence is going to make it worse. If we want to go and carry a gun and fight, it's going to make it worse. Because when you shoot gun, it doesn't know. He's going to shoot anybody else. Okay? And that's why violence is not a solution. We need uprising. Uprising. That's what we need. That's what we need. So, we must think and figure it a way. Because otherwise, nothing good coming. Nothing good. Nothing good is going to come. With that, I will leave you with love of God. And please pray for South Sudan. And I know that. I keep praying. And I know that Kir is not going anywhere. Unless we have to act. I gave you guys last time the story of the man from Tennessee. The one that was saying that Lord would deliver because they were flooding and they wanted to help him. They want to put him in boat and he refused. Say Lord will deliver. They want to put him in a helicopter and he refused. And he said, no, Lord will deliver. Lord cannot deliver when you are laying on your chair and say, oh, I will not do anything, but God is going to bring this peace or something will happen. No, God has given us a brain to think. God has given us 2 eyes to see. God has given us 2 hands to work with, to do things with. Given us 2 legs to go to event and go and do it. So we must act. We must do something because He already gave us a lot of things. And we really should be blessed with that. But when we realize, say, no, we cannot touch this, God is going to take care of it. Yeah, God already has given us tools to use these tools. But we are not using them properly. You cannot just say, and then I'm going to wait to put the meal on my mouth. No, you have to act. You have to get up. You have to go and work. You have to cook. You have to do all these things. And this is what it is. This is the same. We have to act positively. But if we don't, you see what happened to those who did not listen to that story, the end of it. So that man died actually with flood. The one that was saying that Lord was delivered. Well, Lord was delivered. And then when he went there to the heaven, he asked God, why you didn't help me? And God said, what are you talking about? I sent you a boat and you refuse. And I sent you a helicopter and you refuse. So there's a lot of tools that have been used, through other people, through other means. People talk, enlightening you to do something good. And you didn't want to listen. And now you're blaming on God? No. See? Some human beings are crazy. Even though the devil that we don't see, we blame everything in devil. Say, oh, well, I got the shaitan, And he's the one, they are the one doing that. Why don't you challenge that devil then? Don't do right. Don't do bad thing. If you don't do bad thing, and then you challenge that devil actually. But always people will get excuse, will do bad thing and say, oh, well, the devil did it. Well, the devil, did. Everything will be pushed to the devil. But they have hand on it. They have hand on it. They can resist that devil actually. You can resist that devil. You can say, no, I have to do right thing. I have to do right thing. If Kir want to continue not to deliver the service, just to kill people and to have war, no, please, we don't want to do that. You already resisted the devil. But by keeping silent, you don't want to do anything. Actually, you are giving the devil the free pass to do whatever he wanted to do. And later you blame it, say, oh, well, devil did and devil did. If devil was a person to speak, he would have said, hey, why don't you stop doing it? I didn't force you to do it. Right? Thank you so much for listening. Next week, we will have another video live as well. Thank you and may God bless you.